Stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. This is June 19th. Any questions, comments, concerns? Come up to the microphone here. Give us your name and address. I need to ask council to add two things to the agenda under 5. 5D will be Resolution 2324, establishing a request for funding, designating an agent to attest to the existence of funds and commit to implementing a maintenance program for the resurfacing of Adams Street from CX Railroad to 3rd Street, funded by the Transportation Economic Development Fund Category B program. That's 23.4, letter D. E is 23.5. 23.5 is a resolution to establish a request for funding, designating an agent and attesting to the existence of funds and commit to implementing a maintenance program for the resurfacing of Oakwood Street from north of St. Clair Street to Clinton Avenue and Glendale Avenue from Oak Street to Palmer Street, funded by the Transportation Economic Development Fund Grant Category B program.
So moved. Support.
Question? In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's D and E under number 5. Call the roll, please.
Cedar,
Here.
Gottler,
Here.
Hoofa,
Here.
Laporte,
Here.
Hall,
Present.
Bowles,
Here.
Watt,
Here.
all present.
Thank you. Go to number 4 here. Consent agenda, City Council minutes of June 5th, 2023, regular meeting, recommendation approved, and B, Golf Commission minutes of May 9th, 2023, meeting recommendation receive.
Motion to approve A and B is presented. Supported.
Motion made, support. Questions? In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Go to letter number 5, ordinances, resolutions. A, resolution 2321, MDOT Clinton Avenue bike path. Mr. Bishop.
Let me take that away, okay. I'm gonna bring up the resolution. This is for the bike path construction along Clinton Avenue from Kearney Drive to Riverside Avenue. This has been a project, to my understanding, that started in early months of 2021, where the Community Foundation contributed $50,000 for some engineering and design work to be completed. Since that time, it's been bid. It was put into a holding pattern. It was recently rebid. The numbers came back. What the council has in front of them is an updated MDOT Clinton Avenue bike path sources and uses document. Essentially says that the total project cost is to reach $985,242, of which the MDOT grant has increased from about $475,000 to $635,473, remaining a match requirement of just under $350,000. Of that, the Ralph Wilson Foundation and the Community Foundation has contributed $352,000, leaving a carryover balance of $2,231, just over $2,000, plus the City of St. Clair in 2021 had an estimated out-of-pocket expense of $87,406. I reduced that to an even $87,000, plus the carryover balance that I just mentioned of $2,231, and that is the remaining funds obligated for construction administration to see that the work is completed, inspected, and quality control measures are put into place. So, what we have in front of us is the resolution to approve an MDOT contract, which would then allow for the funding from NDOT to roll our way. That would then force us to not force us, but it would allow us to request from the Community Foundation that $352,000, and then it would release the $87,000 that we committed back in 2021 as our part of the match. So this resolution accomplishes the first of a few steps to secure all the funds.
That $87,000 is coming from the general fund?
Yes, it has been Has been set aside since 2021 and rebudgeted every year, so yes.
I'm flipping through what's here. Part of that bid process or that project cost of $985,242, is there a contingency amount that's in there?
I believe contingency is built in.
Or- Waving his head no.
No.
So,
MDOT, Ryan Kern with Anderson Next Time Western. Good evening, everyone. The MDOT jobs are a little bit different the way they're bid. You know, the local jobs that we have, usually we put a 10% contingency on those projects. MDOT does not allow that, but we do put fluff into the quantities. So there's additional quantities in there. That's kind of the contingency that we have in the project, is that there's extra quantities throughout the project. But there's not an actual 10% contingency on this job like there are on our local jobs.
So is your fluff going to be enough to cover it if we go over?
I think, yes, I believe it will be.
And about what percentage of fluff do we have?
Depends on the quantity. Usually it's anywhere from 5 to 10% on each quantity.
Yes.
well, hopefully I have some fluff left over.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rob.
I'll make a motion to adopt.
Support.
I'm going to pick you.
Pick him. All right, motion made, supported. Questions? Call the roll, please.
Laporte,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Bulls,
Yes.
Watt,
No.
Gottler,
Yes.
Ufa,
Yes.
Cedar.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, B, Resolution 2322, 2023 Transportation Asset Management Plan. Mr. Bishop.
In order to move excess major road funding to local funds, we need to submit a updated transportation asset management plan to TAMC, which is the Transportation Asset Management Council. In order to do that, we need to pass by resolution saying that we intend to do this. And we have submitted a PASER study. We've submitted an updated TAMP, which is the plan. And by doing that, allows us to go to MDOT, submit these plans, submit these studies, and say, okay, we're in compliance on the local end. The resolution backs that up, that we are in receipt of those updated studies and findings, and therefore then we can apply for the transfer of the major road funding into local funds. This is the mechanism that allows us to do that.
So it really doesn't cost us anything, right?
No, it's going to allow us to free up money otherwise we couldn't get to because it's in a restricted fund, and now it allows us up to 50% to move
Move it.
excess over, right?
So when Act 51 money comes in, is any of that designatable to local roads, or is it all major?
It does get divided between major and local. The majority of it does go to the major roads. The percentage is different amongst each community as far as how much is major and how much is local. It's dependent upon the mileage of major and local roads that you have, but the majority of that money does go to the major fund. And then communities can transfer up to 50% of the major road funding to the local road funding. With a transportation asset management in place, that can become unlimited. You can transfer as much money as you want from major to local, as long as you're continually maintaining your major road system.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right, thank you.
And out of your mile, I think 7 or 8 miles is major, and then just over 20 miles are local. So the majority of your system is a local road system. However, the majority of the money is going to the majors. So
Right.
it's definitely worthwhile to do this.
Yeah.
And only the major roads are eligible for the 80-20 split on, in my reading of this document, is that correct? That there's federal funding that we can apply for
So-
major roads, but those are the only ones that are eligible for that?
There are certain major roads, Fredmore Highway, Clinton Avenue, Vine, Kearney,
Brown?
part of 9th, Brown,
part of 6?
St. Clair Highway, those streets are federal aid eligible that you can apply for federal aid dollars and get up to 80% of the construction costs funded for. So Fredmore Highway last year was a federal aid project. We did get 80% of just the section from Kearney Drive to 15th Street. The city pitched in to get the next block done from 15th to Henry, but that first block, we got 80% of the construction costs covered. I know in 2026, we have another section of Fredmore Highway where we're getting 80% of the construction costs paid for. Clinton Avenue from Riverside to 3rd a few years back also was federal aid. The county, that goes through the county. The county has a federal aid committee, and every few years they request projects for future years to be included and considered for federal aid dollars, and that money gets distributed amongst all the communities in St. Clair County.
How many years out do we have to make those plans?
Tip-
You're talking about 26
26
already.
is as far as it goes right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did any of the work on Third Street, was that part of any of that?
3rd Street is not federal aid eligible. It is a major road, but it's not federal aid eligible. Yeah.
On the second to last page of this, we have a 6-year proposed capital improvement plan. By accepting this, are these the roads that we're doing for the next 6 years? Are we locked into them by accepting this, or is it just still considered proposal?
You're not locked into it. It's recommended to basically review that on an annual basis and update it as needed. So, depending upon funding and bids, you may not be able to address all the streets within that year. Bids might come in lower and you go into the next year. So usually every year we would look at updating this, but no, you're not locked into those exact streets each year.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Support.
All right, motion made, supported. Questions? All right, call the roll, please.
Hall. Bowles.
Yes.
Watt.
Yes.
Gottler.
Yes.
Hoopa.
Yes.
Laporte.
Yes.
Cedar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Thank you. C, 2323, CBH and Jordan Creek Drive Assessment Roll. Glenn, Mr. Bishop?
This is in relation to the Christian B. Haas special assessment that we received 51% plus of the vote to move forward with paving Christian B. Haas and a part of Jordan Creek Drive. In order to prepare a special assessment, we first have to have some certain authorizations, and this authorization is directing the assessor to create the roll. And so by resolution, by this board, we need to direct Ms. Wendy to go ahead and create the special assessment roll, and then we'll come back at probably July 3rd meeting with a special assessment roll. All the properties will have been outlined, how much per property, so on and so forth, and then it'll be certified. But before we can do that, we need to direct through resolution the assessor to create the roll.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Bowles.
Yes.
Watt.
Yes.
Gottler.
Yes.
Hoopa.
Yes.
Laporte.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Cedar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to 5D, which is Resolution 2324, which is a resolution to establish a request for funding, designating an agent, and attest to the existence of funds and commit to implementing a maintenance program for the resurfacing of Adams Street from the CXX Railroad to 3rd Street, funded by the Transportation Economic Development Fund Category B program.
Take it away.
Take it away.
This is a grant that we apply for year after year. Unfortunately, we're not as successful at obtaining this grant. There's a lot of different indicators that go into scoring these types of things. We just haven't been in a position. One of them is financial need. And so we don't score very high in St. Clair on financial need. Okay? And so it's just one of those things. But we apply anyway, because at the off chance that the market's saturated, with a bunch of communities like us, maybe we'll rise to the top, or people don't apply one year, we might be able to fit in a project. What we have in front of you is the first one, Resolution 2324. This basically is a grant we want to apply for about $250,000 to see if we can accomplish that resurfacing from Adams Street from the railroad to 3rd Street. So in order to apply for those funds, we need a resolution.
So moved.
Support.
Questions? Call the roll, please.
Watt.
Yes.
Gottler.
Yes.
Hoopa.
Yes.
Laporte.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Bowles.
Yes.
Cedar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Thank you. We'll go to E, 2325. This is the resolution to establish a request for funding designating an agent, attest to the existence of funds, and commit to implementing a maintenance program for the resurfacing of Oakwood Street from north of Sinclair to Clinton Avenue and Glendale, from Oak to Palmer, funded by the Transportation Economic Development Fund Category B program. Mr. Bishop.
Essentially the same thing. We're trying to apply for a grant for $250,000, and this would be from Oak Street to Palmer, and also Oak Street from north of Sinclair to Clinton Avenue, and then through Glendale.
When's the process, Quentin? When do you find out if we get the grants?
The timing of it, Ryan, maybe he'll be able to tell us more about that.
Usually by August, September, usually they come out with the award for the projects that are awarded for next year. This year, I know a few months ago, Governor Whitmer approved putting more money into the program this year, so hopefully there's a better chance in getting some grant money. In years past, they try to spread that money out throughout the state and give a certain amount to each region of the state. So in years past, only about 2 or 3 communities in southeast Michigan have received grant money, but we're hopeful that a lot more communities will get it this year. And next, she's put more money into for the next 2 years, so hopefully we'll be successful.
So you need a motion, Your Honor? So moved.
Supported.
Questions?
Bill Quinn at 1374 South Third Side. I didn't hear you. Was that Oak Street? You said?
Oakwood.
Oakwood, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Call the roll, please.
Gattler,
Yes.
Kufa,
Yes.
Laporte,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Volt,
Yes.
Lot,
Yes.
Cedar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Thank you. Reports administration, city superintendent?
Yeah, I'll make mine quick this evening. I want to just make mention that DTE has sent announcements out that there's going to be a service interruption scheduled for City Hall building on Tuesday, the 27th at 10 a.m. Should last about a half hour or so, but if should inclement weather or any other factor postpones it and they can't have the scheduled outage, it'll be scheduled for that Wednesday, the 28th. So with that being said, you may, or residents may have announcements in their mailboxes saying the same thing. It's important. I mean, during that scheduled time, you might want to unplug a computer. You might want to unplug something that's going to, if it's not connected to a surge protector, you don't want to have, when the power, the juice comes back on, all that power comes back in the house. Just something to be thinking about. We are going to call DPW to make sure our backup generators are in the good condition so we can still be operational, but I'll get a status report from Mr. Beath on where our generators are up to. The only other announcement that I have, and I think this is actually probably the most important thing I have to say tonight, is that I'd like to make a special, just a congratulatory announcement for 3 people in our DPW department. Kevin Markle, Corey Newton, and Tony Purgatone. They passed an Eagle certification to earn their licensure. And it's a big deal. It's a very big deal. I mean, there's a 70% fail rate on these particular tests. So it's very difficult, one, to get, to choose that profession, but then to be certified in that profession. And so, hats off to those guys. I mean, they cracked the books, man. They did. They had to do some homework and they did some studying. So the time it took to put in for that. And they walked away with a certification I think they can be very, very proud of. And it just is another testament to their continuing education. So those 3 guys, hats off to.
Good.
Yep. That's all I have.
Anything for Mr. Bishop? Mr. Downey, you have anything tonight?
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Any departments, anybody? E, authority board, commission, committee chairs, and council reps, anybody? Okay, we have no unfinished business. We'll go to number 8, new business. Special event, Hope Floats Poker Paddle. Chief?
Good evening, Council. I received all the paperwork for the annual Hope Floats paddle in the Pine River from the harbor, I believe northeast or whatever that is, west. So it'll all be in the river on, I just had the date too,
July 15th.
July 15th. All the paperwork's in. Recommend you approve it.
So moved.
Supported.
Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? B,
And then Magna is having a tires and treads car show in their parking lot in August, and I think we just put this on here for you to know, but they have all their paperwork in, so you can approve it.
So moved.
Support.
But that was the
This is September 23rd.
September 23rd. That's why I couldn't find it on my August calendar.
Yeah. Motion is made, supported, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Chief. Mr. Bishop has a little something for us, number C, water purchase agreement.
Thanks. I mentioned this at our last council meeting, that we would come back with a draft water purchase agreement. These are for bulk water haulers that are coming in within the city of St. Clair. So we took it to task. We created what's in front of you as a draft water purchase agreement, and it lays out some very specifics in terms of rates. The standing rate right now, it would be $5 per 1,000 gallons of water as measured through the water meter that's located right across from the DPW. And it's a rate of $15.50 per water draw, meaning that every time they hook up, regardless if they take a gallon or they take 6,000 gallons, it's $15.50 to hook up. And then after that, it's $5 per 1,000 gallons of water drawn. Okay?
So this means that's the only location that they can pull water?
At this time, because that is the hydrant that has a meter. Yes. Yes. I want to bring special notice to, it's going to be on the back page, number 4 and number 5. Number 4 establishes a maximum per daily, and that's 120,000 gallons. The month of May is very dry, and the beginning of June is very dry. And so to limit it 120,000 gallons, I took that number, verified it with the water treatment plant operator, and that's a good threshold from what he's making water per day and then what's being drawn off for bulk water, and he's comfortable with that number. Okay? Number 5, and this is most important, it provides us with the authority, even under contract, that if Mr. Fountain tells me we are having an issue with generating enough water for our residents, we can hold on any water purchase at any time. So it gives us the right to do that, to say our residents' needs comes first before bulk water takes priority. So it's written in there intentionally, and so when it gives us the ability just to, you know what, we're just going to suspend the agreement. Sorry about the private business at this point, but our residents need the water, so we're going to be doing that. Okay.
Do we go through 120,000 gallons a day for water haulers?
Surprising enough, they do, and they can very quickly get there. In the month of May, I think that we have registered 265 loads of water left the city in the month of May, which was all paid for under the same exact terms. There's no free water. Mm-hmm. Okay.
How big's a load?
But could be 6,000 gallons. 6,000 gallons per. So.
Yeah, 6,000 gallons.
So at 10 a day, right? If you're averaging 30 days in a month, if you're working weekends, right? It's almost 10 a day. So that's 60,000 a day.
So you're not going for action tonight, you just want to kind of throw this at us? Or?
Yeah, I am throwing it at you. I would like to, chop it up a little bit. If we have some comments, how can I improve it? How can I make it more realistic to our needs? The big things that I included, and I wanted just to, make sure that we're aware of, is 1, location, so we know where it's happening. 2, set the limits. There's a price limit, and then there's a draw limit. So I think that that's fair for anybody getting in the game. And then the third criteria, really, it's that we can say no more. We can shut it off, especially in dry months.
So the guys at the water plant, when they're drawing off of that hydrant down there, can the guys at the water plant, do they notice the draw? Can they tell it's happening?
Well, they know the draw when their machines are telling them that they're producing more water. When their filters are, when their filters are falling off because fresh water is leaving the plant, and they're drawing more water in and having to clean it. So yeah, they absolutely can tell. I mean,
specifically that one location, though. No,
not the location, but specifically like when you have overtime being drawn, and I say, why are we drawing overtime in the middle of the week like that? Well, it's the middle of a dry week, Everybody had kicked on their sprinklers. Everybody's filling up their pool right around Memorial Day. And they needed to stay till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning to make new water in, over a 24-hour period.
Who monitors the meter while they're pulling water? Is there a DPW worker there? Or
No, we don't assign a worker to be there for a couple of reasons. One, it is metered, so we could always tell, because when we pull in numbers, we ask for meter readings as well. So we can tell if they're cheating the system there. But two, they draw water after 3 p.m., and in order to have a DPW worker there to monitor that, we're calling in on overtime for a half-hour fill-up.
Okay.
Frank Weisman, Fort Clinton. I just wanted to know, that money that you get for that water, does that go into the water department's funds?
Yes.
Okay, and then the wear and tear on the system for drawing that much water, I know that we have changed our water rates lately. They're going to be adding a service fee for future repairs and stuff like that. Is that going into that fund also? Do they pay a part of that also?
Yeah, so that fund you're talking about is called the water fund, and that water fund captures things like repair, maintenance. It's going to buy pumps, valves. It's going to replace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Who makes the call under number 5? Is it just Mr. Fountain? Is it you?
Mr. Fountain will tell me, and I'll make the call. I want Mr. Fountain focusing on making water. I'll focus on handling the contract.
Does he have any criteria for making that call? Just volume of water that is being used? That's purely his.
And he'll know, because he'll start reaching the end of day when he knows about, on average, how much peak demand there was that day, and he'll know ratios, because he can make up to 2 million a day.
Okay.
Yeah, Bill Clayman, 1374 South Riverside. Now, when we see somebody hooked to a meter or a hydrant, is there going to be a meter? There's no more on our system?
Correct. So the meter that's going to be located right now is the meter that's outside the DPW next at the cemetery.
So
That meter.
somebody hooks into a meter somewhere else in the city, a hydrant, there'll be a meter on it.
They will not. They will not hook into. They will
meters.
not hook into another hydrant
That's the only hydrant they can draw off of everybody that buys water.
until we get another meter. But right now we have one meter with one hydrant, and it's at an end of the water line, so it's not drawing any pressure off any homes.
So when I see
It's at
these
the-
construction vehicles, pump trucks or vacuum trucks hooked to the meter with no hydrant, that's illegal.
If you see a commercial
If
vendor,
anybody hooks
yes.
to a hydrant without a meter, you're telling me it's illegal. You can't do it.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they're gonna be writing a ticket. That's why I'm trying to get a contract together. But I hear what you're saying.
I'm
Yes,
just saying
they should be filling off the metered hydrant.
Okay, because last year we had a hydrant hooked up and it was on the honor system. I use X amount of gallons of water. Well, if that's the case, I would sure like to go on that same system. But I'm just asking.
That's why we're making this, Bill.
Asking, what meter can they hook to? So as of right now, there's one hydrant in the city of St. Clair that somebody can hook to for water.
One.
One, okay, thank you.
Anything else?
One.
Good.
I'm good. Unless there's any other questions, I'd like to, I can beat this up a little bit more, but I really would like to have something in place. I know it's a
Mr.
topic of
Downey, does
conversation.
the word restriction do enough in number 5?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Actually, I was able to review this with Quentin after the draft was done, and I made some comments, and they've all been added, and I think the agreement is fine as proposed.
Thank you.
So we just need a motion?
No. He's. You want
Information?
for it?
If we
It's-
need to amend this at any time, we have the ability to do so, right down the road.
You do?
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt this document for process.
Support.
Are you ready to adopt, or do you want time to scrub it up a little bit?
I'm ready.
You ready?
When does this go into effect? Immediately? Do you have to get this signed from each bulk water?
We have one, and
Carrier?
I'll make that call tomorrow, and we'll have signatures, and we'll meet, or we'll find out where that person is, and we'll get it signed up.
Perfect.
Will be effective immediately.
Effective immediately.
All right, so the motion is made and supported. Any other questions? We do a roll call on this?
But do we have multiple companies that are coming in and taking, that are bulk, or is it just a couple?
We have we have one major water carrier. The other ones could be contracted with the road programs. They need it for hydro seeding. They need it for dusting the roads. They're not going to take as much, but they should be paying the freight for when they do. And that's going to establish that. Okay, so that's going to clean up that issue. I have had a phone call though from southern St. Clair County and saying that they heard about a bulk water program in the city of St. Clair, and where do I hook up? And I said, you don't, because I don't have a water agreement yet. So now, if they would like to, they would have to follow all these rules, and I would have to call Mr. Fountain and say, hey, on the draws right now, how much can we handle, right? How much draw can these people take? Quite frankly, I would say the rate stays the same always. Number 4, the volume of water purchase we could change arbitrarily per contract. It's just a contract with a vendor. You only can, we have a range of 50,000, take 50. You only can take 50, and we can monitor it that way. But I would absolutely, and I do appreciate the motion of support, because I would like to get this into effect immediately.
All right, any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Number 9 is claims and accounts, June 8th, June 15th, 2023.
Hearing no questions, Your Honor, I make a motion to approve as presented.
Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Well, number 10, this is public questions or comments, any non-agenda items people want to talk about?
No, you go ahead.
Bill Lundman.
Phil Ludman, we do have a 3-minute time limit tonight, ladies and gentlemen, so try to adhere to that.
What, I got 10 minutes?
3.
Oh.
Go.
Well, first of all, we get back to the bike path. Let me make it quite clear. I have no problem with the bike path on Clinton Avenue in front of my house. But there is absolutely no reason for a 10-foot path. What's attracting all of you, and I know none of you would do this if you ran it in your household business, you'd run it in the ground. There's absolutely no real reason for a 10-foot path because of all the reconstruction and redoing that you have to do. You have to tear up what you already put in downtown, and you tore something up prior to that to put that in. And I got the proof and the pictures to show you if you want to see it. But I'm upset that you're spending money and then re-spending money and then doing it a third time. This does not make sense to me. You wouldn't run your household business like that. If you are, you're stupid. But none of you are stupid. So I don't know why this is going forward. Put a 4-foot or a 5-foot path, or maybe even a 6-foot path. More than adequate. And all you need is a 4-foot path. And I've got the paperwork to show that that's acceptable for a bike path. It's a heck of a lot cheaper. And I have no idea what's driving other than the money and the so-called free funds out there. Well, nothing is free in this world, you all know that. I guess when this first came up, the bid was somewhere around $728,000. This all started off December 19, 2019. And the bid was around $728,000, you had matching funds and so forth. The bidding hasn't gone up so much, so I'm going to throw Ryan under the bus. Is there any changes to what agreement we had with what was going to be done on the corner of 9th and Clinton and my 2 neighbors? Are we still going with concrete walls? Thank you, sir. Are we still going with proper sewer and water lines? Thank you again, sir. By you guys doing this, you're going to enhance my property, but I'm still not for it because of all the money you're spending and respending and doing it a third time. When you did Rotary Park, you started tearing up sidewalk. You ripped up a perfectly good sidewalk and put 178 feet, I think it was, of new sidewalk down that you had put in 5 years before to put the stamp sidewalk. Now you're going to do it across the street. This does not make sense to me. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. It's taxpayer dollars, and if any one of you would do this on your own, I feel sorry for you. So, but that's basically it. But if you want to put a bike path, by all means, put a asphalt bike path. But to me, it sounds like the bid came through a lot lower with the prices of things nowadays.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
258, good.
Your turn. I'm Frank Gleist, 1104 Clinton Avenue. I just wanted to know, with all that going on, when do you think it's going to start, the actual construction part? Because it's going to concern me a lot because I'm not going to be able to get in my driveway. I'm going to have to park somewhere else and stuff like that. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go.
We'll probably have a better idea in the next week or two. We'll be setting up a pre-construction meeting with the contractor, but we anticipate the work to start soon after the boat races in early August, and it would go into the fall. Residents will be notified a couple weeks ahead of time as when the work will start and what to expect, and you'll be notified throughout the course of the project, probably on an every other week basis as far as where they're at and when you'll lose access to your driveway and when you won't. So, and I'll be out there quite a bit too. So, if you ever have questions, the notice will have my number on it too. So.
And one more question was we were told when they started that process or started this all that we won't have to take care of that snow removal and stuff like that. That's still going to be the city that takes care of that. Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
Since you're asking questions.
Still get our wall, right? Still get our wall.
Bill Clayton in South Riverside. You said in a couple of weeks, so obviously the bid's been awarded?
Yeah, the bid, we've taken bids, it has not been officially awarded by MDOT yet because we were waiting on the resolution.
Can you let us know who the low bidder is, or?
Yeah, Body Construction was a little bit.
And what was the price?
Just over $985,000.
Could you get a list of who all bid on that?
I can get that to you. There were 4 bids.
I'm sorry, one more question real quick. Do you know where it's going to start? Start by the Riverside or?
That I don't know yet, which end.
Anybody else with public comments? All right, we'll go to number 11. Clair Council, I have a couple things.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was doing some fishing last week and I noticed some scuba divers right off the boardwalk and they got these little rings with the little flags on them. And a lot of people don't recognize those or see them, and I'm not sure they understand what they even are, but so people know, because I had a couple of scuba people ask me, why are people fishing right on top of our head? And that's slightly dangerous. So if you see a ring out there with a red flag on it, there's somebody under the water, be careful. The other thing I want to mention is I want to wish Michael Bowles the best luck in the world. He is continuing his education next month, and he's going to take a little break and do some exciting things, so good luck with that.
Thank you.
Do we meet the day before the 4th of July or the day after?
Before.
3rd? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Unless you want to move it to Wednesday.
You guys want to get it done Monday and be done with it? Yeah, we'll just leave it there. We can take it. Go ahead, John.
I got a question about the clock by the Voyager there in the park. Is DPW, are they in charge of it, and why can't we get a right time on that clock? It's like 3 or 4 different times.
You got 4 different sides.
That clock has been my
Voyager time.
nemesis since we got it. That clock. We have continuously fixed the clock. Currently, code enforcement was helping because that's who was available to help, but it has now been delegated to DPW. So they will be getting together. The next thing they need to do is actually get up and remove the face of the clock and do some things on the
Whatever it
inside.
takes.
So, yes, so we are aware of the clock.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
That thing has been in my crawl for like 2 years, I'm telling you.
Does this still sing a song?
Yep.
It's not the wrong song, it's off key.
Well, it's a beautiful clock, it is.
Yeah, it's any other Mayor Council stuff? Because we're going to go to number 12. I got a closed session to request to confer with legal counsel for the purpose of discussing a confidential attorney-client communication. I'll need a motion to that effect.
Support.
Questions? Call the roll, please.
Yes. Kufa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Volt?
Yes.
Platt?
Yes.
Gottler?
Yes.
Cedar?
I don't know.
Cedar?
Yes, sorry.
Motion carries.
Okay, you are more than welcome to wake upstairs. We'll come and get you if you want to come back. We may take action, we may not.